A white peace in Europa Universalis IV results in a 5-year truce. Making demands in a peace deal will raise the truce timer up to an additional 10 years, with the timer scaling based off of said peace deal. Truces are quite important for keeping nations in check and not expanding too quickly, but what if they didn't? What if truces only lasted 1 to 2 years maximum? Well, using a little mod that I created, we are going to test that question and see how things turn out. If you enjoy the video and you want to see more, make sure that you like the video and subscribe to the channel if you aren't already. It really does help me out. No sponsor today, but I've been working super hard on a very fun alternate history mod for EU4 called Post-Phenum, and it explores a timeline in which Carthage won the Punic Wars. If you want to check it out, the mod and the Discord will be linked in the description, and we also have a huge update coming out on March 8th called New Horizons, so there's going to be a lot to look forward to. So with this mod, we are looking at a 1-year truce with everybody in 1444. Anybody that has scripted truces, 1 year. So hopefully the action will begin very quickly. These guys are actually less than a year, so that's a thing. And it scales up to an extra year on top of the base. So it's base of 1 up to an extra of 1 based on war score. So the most, if somebody 100% somebody in another war, they'll have a 2-year truce instead of 15. So hopefully we're going to see quite a bit more action than we normally would. I'm certainly hoping for it, at least. Early on, we have Poland going in and probably going to annex Wallachia, and the Ottomans' truces are all over, and it looks like they've already declared a war, not as somebody that they have a truce with, but over here they're declaring on whatever these guys are, Dulkadir. And I imagine they're very quickly going to get some claims and start declaring wars on anybody and everybody. And I think we're going to see the Ottomans definitely blobbing early on, because truces are what really hold them back in the early game. But then again, truces also help manage AE. So it may backfire. We may end up seeing some coalition wars. That would be pretty sweet. France is over here throwing some absolute hands at the Burgundians. Not really sure why they're just letting themselves get sieged down over here, but they full occupied Brittany over here with their friends of Provence. And it looks like they're going to win the war. Kind of interesting to see that we don't have the 100 Years' War yet, and they haven't given them Maine, so the event hasn't fired. So we'll see that soon as well. Yo, we are literally 6 years in, and Timurids have already gotten over here, annexed some boys in the mountains, as well as almost all of Baluchistan. What are they doing? That is crazy. They're so aggressive. Also, Ripnaj, hardly knew ya. Doesn't look like Hormuz is feeling too good either. They're getting wall breached by the mammies over here, or at least their friends. England over here doing England things, annexing the Irish. And meanwhile, fighting their own rebels while they're abroad, fighting the Irish. They like to fight people, I guess. Ooh, a very rare inheritance of Naples by Aragon. I think he broke free and then the leader died like almost immediately and led to that annexation. I'm pretty sure that's how that works, because that like never happens. So I think that's like a vanilla thing. Pretty sure that's just luck. What isn't luck is this. Rome is occupied by the Ottomans in 1451. So we're seeing a lot of action, like super early on. I like this. I'm a big fan. Oh, Byzantium, my beloved. Ottomans coming at you for one, Venice coming at you for another. Rip. Yeah, and despite the Timurids doing a bit of blobbing early, it doesn't look like it matters, because all of their subjects have declared war on them, including Ajam and Sind. So Timurids are going to get partitioned. The writing is definitely on the wall. So here's one for you. The Teutons have attacked with these guys in Velgost, who have called in the Emperor and the Emperor's ally of England, while the Teutons called in their allies of Denmark and the Kalmar Union. Sweden is disloyal, but it's going really well for them. The war's been going on for 4 years, and a few people have perished, just a few, especially a lot of Austrians. So I don't really know how this is working out, but it is definitely working out. What is not working out, however, is Hungary. Getting a nice hug here from Poland. Probably gonna lose some land if I had to guess. And speaking of losing land, I'm pretty sure I missed this, but Berlin is now a Bohemian possession, as well as Neumark. Okay. Yeah, but despite annexing a prince of the HRE, they cannot stop the Danzig Confederation, or whatever this is. They just got absolutely sliced and diced with their capital right here surrounded, but they occupied Danzig. So we'll see how that goes. Doesn't look like Poland joined either. So we very well may see the Teutons come out of this alive. Alive, yes. Thriving, hard to say. Time will tell. And I really have no idea what happened over here, because France ended up taking some land from Brittany, but then the 100 Years' War just never happened. I don't know what's going on. It's beyond my comprehension. Now, Poland, Why did you have to go and do that? Poor Hungary has seen better days with half their land over here in the Carpathian Mountains. Well, not half, but a chunk of it. And then the rest over here in, you know, Hungary proper, I guess you could say. They are so sad looking. This is depressing. Oh, we are so back, baby. A minute ago, it was all over, but now they're so back. Yeah, I think that the short truces is definitely helping out Castile and Aragon, apparently. Just absolutely gobbling up everything over here in North Africa. And it's like 1465. So short truce is definitely allowing them to take a lot more than they normally would, at least for the AI. Big bad Muscovy over here making it happen, annexing the entirety of the Livonian Order and almost all of Novgorod with just this Danish land up here. And judging by their size, I'm pretty sure Muscovy can take them on, especially if Sweden is independent. And they probably will be, let's be honest. Okay, yeah, Castile is actually just going off the rails here. They have annexed Tlemcen, except for like one province over here, and Fezzan, except for two provinces over here. And it's been like 5 years since I last showed you guys. So the short truces are very much a buff to the nations that are bordering weak ones. So just like the last one with the fast sieges, I'm thinking we're probably going to see big nations blobbing pretty early, but this means that they will not have long truces in the late game. So hopefully we're going to see quite a bit going on here. And in 1500, things are not slowing down. Castile pushing all the way over, bordering the Mamluks, who are currently in the process of getting Ottomaned. So that's a thing that is happening. Mushasha dominating most of the land over here in Mesopotamia, which is really cool. And whatever this is happening, this is what's happening. In a surprise twist, Ming not getting it dumpstered, actually beating up on Oirat of all things. So Mandate apparently going pretty good. Also, Japan is united except for Hokkaido, who is this Orochoni, or however that's pronounced. So pretty cool. Looks like Muscovy decided he wanted Lithuania, and then Teutons wanted Poland. Now Poland is exiled, or at least probably going to be exiled to Transylvania inside of Hungary, who got some of their land back, which is super, super funny. Austria is also doing pretty good as well. Looks like they got the Burgundian inheritance. Burgundy had been eaten partially by France before it happened, so that's a thing. And it looks like France probably like threatened England for a province here in Alençon. At least that's the only thing I can kind of think. I mean, they may have taken a province or two, but it doesn't look like it, because up in the north, England is doing fine, but Scotland has gotten a province, and then they took a bunch of land from Scotland. So a bit of a mess going on over here, if I'm being honest. The colonial game is underway with the usual suspects, Portugal over here in Brazil, and then Castile up here in Guyana. We've also got English Newfoundland over here, or Newfoundland, if you want to say it phonetically. And then down in Africa, we've got Congo uniting much of Central Africa, with Kilwa dominating over here on the east, annexing all of Madagascar and all of the land down here, though it looks like they are being pushed a little bit down here by Adal and Malindi. Not 100% on that one. And yeah, 10 years later, Ottomans have gone to war with the Mamluks twice, taking some land over here. They ate up Mushasha over here. And I imagine that they're going to take more land over here, with a rare tag of Lebanon poking out over here from Seda. So that's pretty cool. I'm always happy to see little releasables there. You almost never see Lebanon in the game, so that's pretty funny. Meanwhile, Muscovy is absolutely on the warpath, and they are showing no signs of slowing down. Nor are the Ming, like I just pointed out, with Manchu recently forming over here. So very cool to see. And Japan has united the home islands, as I had mentioned before. They did not have this up here, but now they do. Now they just need Okinawa. That way they can have some defense here whenever the inevitable happens with America. And I didn't point it out before, but the Indian blobs are Indian blobbing. We've got Bengal, Vijay, Malwa looking incredibly big, and Delhi over here. Looks like Jaunpur got eaten up, as did Bamanis, a little one province minor over here. So always nice to see a little bit of variety, but you know, we've got our blobs as is expected. Hey, yo, would love to see a Somalia on the screen. I think this was Adal formed them. Pretty cool. We also see Yemen, Arabia, as well as Yemen with their capital over here. Don't ask me how, right next to a massive Ottomans looking very good, right next to a massive Castile looking very good. France a bit muted, but Austria slowly uniting all of like Central Middle Europe. I don't know what you call this whole region, but looking pretty good, with the Teutons becoming Poland apparently, and then Muscovy. Hasn't even formed Russia yet. I have a feeling they're going to be scary. I have a feeling they're going to be quite the shakeup in the late game. Oirat also not feeling so good, with Manchu and Ming both taking big bites out of them, and it looks like Muscovy looking to finish them off, though I think this might be Ming at war with them right now. But again, it doesn't matter. Truces are 2 years at the max. Interesting to see Korea leave their peninsula. A couple of provinces up here, though they did lose Jeju to the Japanese, and the Japanese did finally get Okinawa, so they can get started on those defenses over there. On the colonial front, we have more Portuguese as well as more Spanish, more Portuguese and more Spanish. And then we have the 13 colonies over here, as well as Newfoundland, a proper colony formed with Danish Greenland, apparently. So, all right. So 100 years into the game, with only 2 years max per truce, the Ottomans with over 1,600 development, Castile with over 1,500, and Muscovy with almost 1,500. Very cool to see. Austria over 1,000. So a lot of development between a few nations. France with a lot, as well as England in the 6th spot, Portugal in the 7th, and Ming, once they embracing institutions, both of them, they will be like the number 4 great power. So Ming not collapsing and doing pretty good for now is pretty interesting. So it's only been a few years. We do have a Russia that has formed and a Castile that is soon to form Spain. I can't imagine it's going to be much longer. We also have the Ottomans looking pretty good with a nice long name, and Great Britain has formed. But there's actually something more noteworthy about Great Britain, and that is the fact that they are indeed the emperor of the Holy Roman Empire. Now, it is absolute trash. They're never going to make anything happen out of it, but they are the emperor of the Holy Roman Empire, and the empire is still a thing. You know, it's still here. There's still some big nations in it, namely Great Britain, who is the emperor. So, okay. And in the part-time, the emperor of the Holy Roman Empire is continuing to colonize the east coast of the US, with Castile conquering the rest of the Mexicans and filling in Louisiana, at least the boot of Louisiana, with the Caribbean here, and then Denmark coming in and colonizing what it's calling Colombia, but what is actually like Nicaragua and like Panama. So that's a thing. So I'm definitely rooting for Quito and Muisca, my beloved, over here, hanging out, just holding out, hopefully not getting conquered by the colonizers, at least, you know, not for a while. French are over here in Africa, and then right here we've got Norway on the Grain Coast, so keep an eye on them. We also have the French down here in the Congo, giving them some problems, and then down around the Cape we have the Castilians as well as the Portuguese. So there is definitely a bit of colonial stuff going on over here, though I don't think anybody particularly is over here, except I think I see couple of Spanish provinces and a couple of Portuguese provinces in the Spice Islands. Yeah, mostly just Portugal and Spain. So we've got a couple of interesting things going on right here. We have Asteria, because Austria has been dismantled. Ulm is massive. Friesland up here doing pretty dang good. Might form the Netherlands, though we'll wait until we see that. And then there's just Mainz. Mainz, I guess. A theocracy, a little 2-province theocratic nation here in 1444. The most major nation in Germany. So that's pretty good. Oh, of course, and the Teutons. There's this, whatever this is. I love to see them thrive, because Teutons are probably one of my favorite nations in the game, especially to form Prussia as, because you can just kind of chill and develop until you form Prussia. I'm a fan, definitely a fan. Italy's a mess between Venice, Spain, one province minor Rome, and then Florence has migrated up into like Piedmont, I think this area is called. So, all fun things happening over here. Somalia looking really good right over here with Air, and then France dominating sub-Saharan Africa. Holland with their capital in the Calabar, right next to a crocodile, apparently. And they were doing good, but now they're not. Ming collapsed. We have Shun, Xi, and Yu are the major guys. And then Qi and maybe that's it, Ning. A bunch of little guys, but yeah. Ming not doing well. Who is doing well, however, would be Bengal. Very scary. Right next to Vijay, who's also very scary. Of the 4 Indian blobs, only 3 remain, or at least in any meaningful capacity. Portugal has decided to colonize Down Under, as well as Down Under of America, with Spain over here, the Danes over here, Caribbean is Portuguese, and then we have the Castilians over here on the left coast, and then the 13 colonies continue to fill in, but we do have Norwegian Alabama. So didn't think I was going to see it today. Didn't know I needed it, but now I know I definitely needed this. Worth noting that Britain is no longer the emperor of the HRE, and that is because he decided to change religion, and they're Anglican now, and the Catholics are the ones in power, despite most of the princes actually being Protestant. So yeah, Catholics not doing well, at least in the HRE. As a whole, I would say they're doing quite well, but the HRE is kind of an important mechanic, and it's not thriving as it stands right now. Orthodox seems to be doing good. In terms of name size, Orthodox be winning. Well, things are certainly heating up for Great Britain. France, not so much. Things are kind of solidifying borders over here with mines looking much better and Ulm looking very good, actually terrifying. And then Venice over here actually is occupying like half of the Ottomans. Don't ask me how. I really don't know how stuff like this is happening, but it's half going to them and the other half going to like a purple nation, which I'm not sure who it is. Not purple, gray. But yeah, between the Teutons and Venice, they are dumpstering the Ottomans. And it looks like Moldavia has already taken a bite out of what once was a very major nation. Still a major nation, but not nearly as major as this. All belongs to Mother Russia, I guess. Except for southern China, which all belongs to Bengal for now. They are in a war. I don't know if they're going to win or lose, but it could go either way. Very funny to see France with their capital down here in Africa. Looks like they annexed the Dutch with their capital in Calabar and decided to move their capital right next door to Cameroon. So EU4 just doing EU4 things. South America is filling in and North America is filled in as well with basically borders what you would normally expect them to be. Though we do have Frisian Patagonia down here. I'm definitely a fan of that. And the Frisian Papuan Peninsula. Say that 10 times fast. Rest of the Spice Islands going mostly to the British or the Spanish, one of the two. Portuguese over here with Malacca looking good, but with Bengal beating down their doorstep, it's probably not long for this world if I had to guess. The Protestants have also been all but eliminated. All of this was Protestant last time we looked, and now it's all Catholic, with the only real Protestant holdouts here in the south with Ulm and Styria of all people, and Friesland. But then the rest is Anglican because, you know, Franco-British Union. Once again, I think this happened like last video or a video before that, so pretty cool to see. With a little over 100 years left, we've got Britain in the #1 spot, but it's only because they've embraced institution and nobody else has. Actually, real #1 spot is going to be Russia with the Ottomans and Castile, all three neck and neck for the #1 spot, followed by Great Britain and then Portugal, Bengal, who's actually doing pretty good in their own right, and then the Teutonic Order looking massive. And I imagine that as the Ottomans start to crumble, the Teutons are going to be picking at them bones and they're going to be looking real good. And then Vijayanagar in the 8th spot. Always love to see an Indian blob, or at least an Asian nation in general, though this time we get 2 Indian blobs in the top 8. So pretty cool. I'm wondering who's going to come out on top. Well, here we have it. Revolutionary Swabia. Not Mines. I was thinking Mines formed it, but I think it was actually Ulm. Pretty sure Ulm conquered Mines and then formed Swabia and then went revolutionary. So it is pretty beautiful. I'm definitely here for it. Liège managed to dominate a ton of land over here with a couple of French provinces randomly over here as well. So don't ask me why, it's just that's the way things were. I am so stoked that Florence survived over here with their capital in like Cuneo, like in the woods of Piedmont. They are revolutionary and it is just, it's so funny. It's so good. I love this. Spain ended up forming and ended up having a pretty weird name placement, but overall pretty cool. At one point, France actually completely collapsed almost. They lost like a ton of land here. They lost like all of this land to rebels and they managed to conquer it all back, and they still have their capital in Africa, but you know, down but not out. In a strange turn of events, Bengal formed Delhi. So that's a thing. Also, shout out city of Luan. Big fan of that one. And Japan still exists, but they're getting a big hug from the Ruskies here. Ruskies down here and Ruskies up in Hokkaido. So if we let the game run, I'm sure that they would not be around for too long, especially considering truces are literally 2 years max. Borders with the Ottomans ended up being pretty nasty. A couple of people here and there conquering. For the most part, just Russia eating them from this side, and then the Teutons eating the rest, with Spanish Balkans making a surprise appearance. And the New World remained mostly the same, with Britain taking like random provinces here and there, and then some land over in the Caribbean. That's about it. Aside from that, it's like exactly the same, and they're all still colonial subjects. Though very cool to see an Iceland back with Denmark with their capital over here in Visbygden. So pretty good. And it does seem like Protestantism had a bit of a comeback, taking some land over here. It was just like Ulm and Styria last we looked. So a bit of a push, but still nothing really too impressive, honestly. Definitely a really strong Catholic game, especially with the Teutons pushing all of this over here. Just look how Catholic Africa is. That is crazy. It's almost as Catholic as the entire New World, barring Michigan and like Montana, I think this is over here. Okay. And the Protestant bastion that is Greenland. Though pretty cool to see a Coptic nation here, especially surrounded by this big old ocean of yellow and whatever this mess is down here. Crazy to see Confucianism is like gone. It's like one province over here and it's not the state religion. The rest is all Sunni with Hindu in a couple of provinces because reasons. And then random provinces over here being converted, though you know how the AI is when it comes to that stuff. They don't really convert a lot of nations, especially Muslim nations, though apparently they decided they did not want the Confucians in their nation. They're letting the Sikhs hang around though, which that's pretty cool. I like the Sikhs. Shout out the Sikhs. Culturally, the Poles ended up doing pretty good. So that's the thing. Looks like our boys, the Teutons, decided that Polish was the de facto culture of their region over here. Turkish encroachment on Greek lands. My goodness. Of course, Muscovite, massive with all of those Siberian frontiers. American English over here on the west and up in the north. And then it's all Mexican over here, which I'm pretty sure this is comparable to how it is in real life. And before you leave an angry comment saying that I'm like making racially insensitive jokes or whatever, it's true. There is a lot of Mexicans that live around here. Ask anybody that lives in America. And I like Mexicans. Shout out Mexicans. My editor is Mexican. Regardless, the South is all Brazilian and then Platinian. So there you go. And then just, you know, Castilian over here in the Falklands. So I'm really happy to just kind of be getting back to basics, doing what I used to do, just editing one small thing and just seeing how it affects the game. If you guys enjoyed this, make sure you leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Like I said, if you want to join the Discord, you can. It's linked in the description below. You get early access to all the videos and special roles in that Discord if you support me on Patreon or join the channel, become one of the homies with the join button below the video. I appreciate you for making it all the way to the end of this video, and I hope that you have an absolutely fantastic day.
Special thanks to Kaiser Dar of Acadia, Sheol, Gammas23, Ian Powell, Cannon Fodder, Josh Kopczynski, Agent Rhino, Blonde Damon, Isaiah, Rover, Bubba J, Saronska, Ricardo, Cobalt, Rex, Nathan Albright, and many more.